What's going on YouTube? It's Joey back with another Millie Maker video for NFL Week 15 on Draftkings. In this video, I am going to recap my NFL Week 14 lineup on Draftkings, and then I am going to talk about two of my favorite stacks for NFL Draftkings this week. But before we get into that, make sure you are subscribed to the channel. It helps us out a lot. We're currently at 145 subscribers, so if we can hit the 150 subscriber mark, that would be absolutely fantastic, and it would mean a lot to us if you would subscribe to the channel. And if you're interested, you can check out the DFS Dose podcast, which is on every podcast platform, including Apple, Spotify, SoundCloud, whatever podcast app you use. The DFS Dose is on there, so make sure you check that out. Every single Thursday and every single Monday is when new episodes are released. And then finally, if you want, you can join our free Discord chat linked down below in the description. Like I said, it's free, so you really can't beat it, and we talk about DFS all day, every day in the chat, so make sure you join there if you want some advice on your lineups or if you have any questions. We're always on Discord, so make sure you check that out down below. And I know I haven't really plugged it over the course of the season, but we actually have a website, thedfsdose.com, where Ben releases his article every single Friday on Cash Pool. And you know, we're going to have some other stuff coming, including some NBA content. The NBA season starts in a week or so, and I personally play NBA DFS as much as NFL DFS, so make sure you're on the lookout for that. And then if you want, you can also support us by buying a shirt. I don't know if you can see it on the screen. We have the DFS Dose t-shirts available. We really haven't mentioned it all season, and we still have a bunch of shirts available. They're like $15 or $20 on the DFSDose.com. If you want to help support us, we'll ship that out to you if you're interested. But other than that, let's get into the recap for NFL Week 14 on DraftKings. So for Week 14, you could see the lineup that I ran on the screen. Justin Herbert to Keenan Allen with a Calvin Ridley bring back, and that is one of the stacks that I highlighted in my video from last week, so I was comfortable running that stack. And as you can see, it wasn't too owned. Calvin Ridley came in at under 10%, Herbert under 15%, and Keenan Allen was only 17%, so not bad. And you know, they weren't great, especially Herbert and Keenan Allen, but you know, sometimes it just doesn't work out. And then Ronald Jones was one of my favorite tournament plays on the slate, so I decided to play him as a one-off. I decided to run Jonathan Taylor in this lineup as a one-off as well at 5,800, and correlated Buccaneers defense with Ronald Jones. DeAndre Washington, who I thought was a fine play at 4,000, ended up not getting there, only scored 7 points, but he had the opportunity to score more than 7, so you can't really complain about that. And I burned more money on DJ Chark, so shout out to me for burning money on this guy 3 weeks in a row now at 5,300, 7%, correlated him with Jonnu Smith, so kind of getting off the Derrick Henry chalk from last week, playing some pass catching options, combined for under 8 points, so GG on that. Terrible plays, but you know, I thought it was good in hindsight, and maybe it was. DJ Chark just gets very bad targets from his quarterbacks, and maybe I should stop playing a Jacksonville Jaguars wide receiver in tournaments. Not a very profitable strategy in the long run, but Chark has to get there one of these days, I like to think. But yeah, that was the lineup that I ran. Overall, I'm not too mad about it. I ended up scoring 139 points. I didn't cash, as you can see right here. Couldn't even complete a min cash, so that was tough. And it was one of those tournament weeks for me. I mean, my cash lineup scored more than every single one of my tournament lineups on this slate, and you know, sometimes you have those weeks. I'm still chasing a big win, playing some large field stuff, and I know it's essentially lottery. It's basically just scratch offs, to be honest. And maybe my money would be better spent going to the grocery store and getting some scratch offs, but I like to think that I have an edge over the field this season, and I'm going to keep on firing bullets into these large field tournaments to try and win some life-changing money. So that is the recap from last week. Let's talk about two of my favorite stacks for NFL Week 15. So in week 15, we have a slate where, there's not too many interesting games that I want to target, to be honest. Like the Seattle and Washington game really doesn't interest me. Chicago and Minnesota could be interesting. I don't know if I would target it personally. Houston and Indy, and not too sure about that. Jacksonville and Baltimore seems like a lopsided affair. Probably going to stay away from the New England Miami game. New York Jets, LA Rams. Probably going to stay away from that. And I think two of the more interesting games in the stackable games, in my opinion, come in the afternoon window, and that is the Philadelphia and Arizona game and the Kansas City and New Orleans game. So those two games come in as two of my favorite game stacks for week 15. So first, let's talk about the Eagles and the Arizona side of the ball. So the Eagles are traveling into Arizona this week. They currently have a 49.5 total according to ESPN. I could see that moving up as the week progresses, as bets start rolling in. I could see the total rising in this game in a dome against two semi not so good teams. The Cardinals are not as bad as the Eagles, but the Eagles have been literally terrible all year, but they made the change that everyone was hoping for. Jalen Hurts is now the starter of the Philadelphia Eagles. He is starting in the spot against an Arizona defense that has given up points to opposing quarterbacks recently. And Jalen Hurts is only 5,900. And if we just take a look at his box score from last week, he had 18 rushing attempts for 106 yards. Unfortunately, he lost a fumble, which took away some of his points. But if you're getting a starting quarterback at 5,900 who's going to run 10, 15 times a game, I think the upside with Hurts outweighs any potential risk of playing an Eagles quarterback in tournaments. And you're just getting a young guy that is coming in to try and prove himself in the NFL in a good spot, in a good scoring environment, in a pace-up game against a Cardinals team that we all know likes to play fast. They like to run a lot of plays, which is great for DFS, which is great for fantasy. So Jalen Hurts could be a tournament winner this week, and he does have stackable options. He has Jalen Reagor at 4,400, Fulgham at 4,000, and that's probably the two wide receivers that I would consider. I would also consider Dallas Goedert at 3,900, but preferably Jalen Reagor and Fulgham. You're kind of just betting on their talent to win out. I know Greg Ward has been playing plentiful of snaps, seeing 5 targets in back-to-back games, but I think Reagor and Fulgham are the guys in Philadelphia, and I know Rager's been disappointing ever since, he broke out over a month ago, which is disappointing to see the Eagles not even consider playing him, which is just terrible. But at 4,000, he is a stackable option, and I will say you don't have to play Jalen Hurts with a wide receiver or a tight end. You could play Jalen Hurts naked this week and be fine, and fill out your roster with some higher upside wide receivers rather than play an Eagles wide receiver like Jalen Reagor. And I like that a lot. It won some tournaments last week in the afternoon only and in some qualifiers. So I like running Jalen Hurts naked, and then Kyler Murray at 7,000. I think he could go overlooked in this spot. He's been largely disappointing over the last month, ever since he had that shoulder injury that's been putting him on the injury report. But we saw him finally go back to his old ways with 13 rushing attempts for 47 yards. Only scored 18 points against the Giants, but they travel back to Arizona from New York at home in a good spot against an Eagles defense that has been dealing with some injuries, and they may be down their best cornerback and Darius Slay. I think he's going to play. I could be wrong on that, but if Darius Slay is out, that means DeAndre Hopkins is a smash play at 7,900. Kyler Murray at 7,000 obviously has a lot of upside that we've seen this entire season. And I think with Kyler Murray, you only stack him with one wide receiver, whether that be DeAndre Hopkins or Christian Kirk, or if you want to go lower, which I wouldn't advise, but Andy Isabella, Larry Fitzgerald, etc. Because the way Kyler Murray gets there is through his rushing, which takes away points from his wide receivers. So I would really only consider Kyler Murray to DeAndre Hopkins, and this is a spot where you can also run Kyler Murray naked. I think this is a unique game where you can play the quarterbacks without any of their pass catchers. I probably would play DeAndre Hopkins with Kyler Murray and run Jalen Hurts naked if I go that way. But you can also include Miles Sanders in there, who had a very good game last week. You can also include Kenyon Drake in there as well, who's been getting extended run. So this is one of my favorite games on the week, and I'm definitely going to have exposure to this game in tournaments. But with that being said, my second favorite game and my ultimate, favorite stacking game for week 15 is Kansas City and New Orleans. So Kansas City is traveling to New Orleans to face the Saints this week in week 15. It currently has a 51.5 total, tied for the highest on the slate, and I think this is a game where a lot of people will go to. You have the Chiefs' high-powered offense. Obviously, they're great plays each and every single week going up against a Saints team that is coming off a bad loss to the Eagles, so they are looking to rebound in this spot at home. And I think this is a potential game stack that could win tournaments. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes, one of the best quarterbacks in NFL history, even after 3 years. I personally believe that, and he's the best quarterback in the NFL right now. At 7,900, you're getting a high upside quarterback, and people might be turned off by the perceived bad matchup against the Saints. With Mahomes, I don't really care about matchup. I care about the scoring environment, and if the Saints can keep it a close game, and I like to think that they can. Taysom Hill at 6,000 has a very favorable price tag. Drew Brees may be back. He may not be back. Time will tell on that, but at the time of recording, he currently is still on IR, so I'm expecting Taysom Hill to start. And at 6,000 in a high-scoring game, I think Taysom Hill is just too cheap this week, especially with his rushing upside. In his 4 starts, he's been 10 rush attempts or more in 3 out of the 4. As you can see, 20-plus points in 3 out of 4, 18 points minimum in his 4 starts as the Saints quarterback. So I think Taysom Hill provides you a salary saving option at the quarterback position if you want to go there. Personally, I'm hoping that the Saints just come around to playing Jameis Winston and then we could jam him in at 5,100. That's pretty unlikely at this point, but I like Mahomes. I like Taysom Hill. Obviously, very good stacking options with both quarterbacks. You have Alvin Kamara at the running back position, and we saw him get back to his pass catching ways. Had 10 targets, 7 catches in a game that the Saints were losing in. They could easily be losing in this matchup against the Chiefs, or it's going to be really close if they're not losing. So I think Alvin Kamara will get fed. I think Michael Thomas, who's had a crazy 35 to 40% target share with Taysom Hill at quarterback over the last month, is a good play at 7,200, so I would consider him. And then obviously Tyreek Hill, who's like the wide receiver 1 on the season, or wide receiver 2 behind Devontae, one of the other, is a great play each and every single week. Travis Kelce at 8,000 is a great play, and it's just with this game, you're gonna have to find a way to save salary. So whether that be stacking one of these other secondary games and getting different in that way, or playing a cheaper option like Emmanuel Sanders at 4,200, Watkins 4,600, and you have some other guys to choose from, even Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who, even Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who has seen a significant target percentage in that Chiefs offense, well, significant enough to play him on DraftKings, a full PPR site. So this is the game that I'm looking forward to playing the most, and I'm definitely going to have exposure to this game in tournaments. But that is it for this video. So just to quickly recap, I like the Eagles and Arizona game stack, and I like the Kansas City and New Orleans game stack. I like the Kansas City and New Orleans a little bit more than the Eagles and Arizona, but I think the Arizona game will come with lower ownership, and that sums up this video. If you guys enjoyed it, remember to hit that subscribe button. If you want, you could check out the DFS Dose podcast on any podcast platform. And like I mentioned, if you want to help support the channel, you can go over to the dfsdose.com and cop a shirt, and we will send that out to you if you do so. So those are some ways to support us. We greatly appreciate it. I will catch you guys next week for the week 16 video, but hope you guys win all of the money this week. Let's have a profitable week, and remember to hop in the Discord chat if you have any questions. Peace, guys. I will see you next week.